Hey guys, it's Elizabeth, and we're here on a special night, Saturday, for the Naked Truth with Fat Kings Phil. Hello.
Aloha, I'm Bruce Wayne. I will be your.
You're gonna co-pilot tonight with your official microphone.
That's right. I have my official. This is my sexy voice microphone.
My co-host tonight, who hasn't been here in a while, I haven't seen you on here in a while, is James Haney.
Hello. Yeah, I haven't been here for a while.
Yeah, well, it's good to see you.
Nice to be on again.
You had a rough week.
Yeah, in the hospital. I'm out now, doing fine. Thanks.
Wait, I missed this.
Yeah, because we're not Facebook friends, Phil.
Oh, come on! I must have fixed that by now.
You've never friended me. I guess I wasn't cool enough. But,
okay, so I'm not the only one then who's complaining about you not friending me.
Anyway, yeah.
I'm friends with your wife though, so.
Yeah, right. Oh, I know that. I'm sure you are. Yeah, I had a leg infection, so I went into the hospital in the emergency room on Sunday and got out Friday. So I'm home with a PICC line, doing my own IV infusions at home.
Wow,
I'm good. Healed up. Just a matter of staying on the antibiotics for another couple weeks.
That's been giving you some troubles, right? I mean, like you've been having repeat problems with that, right?
Yeah, I have chronic problems with that one, especially that one leg.
Sorry, man. Well, I'm glad you're doing better. That's cool.
Thanks.
Okay, so I'm just going to really quickly run through community celebrations, and then Phil share a couple of the comments that weren't questions for you, and then we'll jump right in because we had just a few questions for you, just a few.
Just a few. That's it. I thought I'd pull more questions. It is the Memorial Weekend, so.
No, you got quite a few questions.
Oh, okay.
About the second time. So community celebrations. We had a couple people who are near and dear to our hearts having surgery last week. Lauren Dayton had her plastics, I think, on Thursday. She's doing great. She's home. The morning of her surgery, she weighed in at 125 pounds, which was her lowest weight ever. So that's awesome. And beautiful Alicia, also had surgery this week and is doing well. And Dennis Vinay's husband, Jay, also had his vertical sleeve gastrectomy this week. So good wishes to him. Jennifer Prusak Santiago has lost 143 pounds, bringing her into Wonderland at 191 pounds, which is awesome. Tiffany Clark has her 1-year surgiversary coming up this week on June 1st. She says that after 8 years of being a stay-at-home mom, unable to work for the last 5, she now has the confidence to get a job and got a job, so that's awesome. And she also, I think, posted a lot on YouTube, a lot of the seminars from WLSFA. She posted Sarah's goal-setting seminar today or yesterday, and also Dr. Weiner's talk, which was great. And I know it was early in the morning, so probably a lot of people missed it, so you should check those out. Amy Howard hit I think she means the 100-pound lost week. That's Killing Fat Amy. Oh, Lisa VSG English is having her plastic surgery on Thursday, a week after Lauren's. Ashley Ecke hit the 150s this week. Nita RNY dropped 30 BMI points from 67 to 37, which is amazing.
Wow.
I was looking at mine because I hit my lowest weight in 30 years yesterday and immediately went into self-sabotage mode. But I went from 69 BMI to 34 since I started. Lindsay Broussard, who's actually our guest next week, she's a relative newbie compared to the people we usually have on. She's wearing shorts in public for the first time. Marianne Markham is on her way to Wonderland at 2:05. Her high weight was 360. And Terry Santiago, who Kirk refers to as the metallic boob girl, just wanted to post about her remotivation from going to WLSFA.
Awesome.
And then when I posted for questions for Kirk, we had a few comments that I just want to share with you before we get started and get off track and whatever. So Takesha, Positive Girl Gets Fit, says, please tell him thank you for all the wonderful comments and also for taking time out to chat with me at the conference. I cannot express how awesome that was.
That was for me or for Kirk? Oh, God, no, that was my pleasure. I mean, that's the least, I mean, geez. I mean, wow. She's, I know I said this on 50 Shades, but She has got so much energy, and she's so vivacious and so just positive.
Lovely.
You expect her to be like this Amazon. Like, you expect her to be like 6'6" and just like, and she's just this cute little tiny thing. It's kind of cute. So, yeah, she's awesome.
And then Jim's wife says, "Tell Phil I apologize for breaking up him and Jim's bromance at the pool, but glad they bonded and we finally got to meet him."
That's all right. Quite all right.
Shauna Elliott says, "Let Phil know that us Canadians who live near Gooch and Sarah don't want him to cancel his trip, like he mentioned in the last video. We could have an epic meetup here at some point, and he could still go to their wedding in Mexico." Okay. I think those are my comments for Phil. So everybody loves you. I think you already know that after WLSFA.
Well,
but let's tell you that some more.
I mean, just don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so Jim, you want to launch into our questions?
Yeah, so I guess we're going to start it out by basically your stats, when you had your surgery, starting weight, what type of surgery, when you got to goal, all the numbers, you know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So my highest weight was 360. I was actually 332 at the time of surgery, which took me 2 years to get from 360 to 332, and that was just through. That was before I even knew I was going to have surgery, but just sheer will and determination, working out and trying to eat right, and just still not. I mean, that's not a lot of weight to drop at 360, right? So 332 on the day of surgery. It took me about a year to get to 210. I was oddly just watching my 1 year goal video the other day, just kind of trying to refresh myself, and just about a year to, I think it was 51 weeks it took me to get to 210, and then my lowest weight ever was about 201. Just right after I got back from Australia in October of that year, same year. So I had surgery in 2013, July, and then I think I hit that low point in October of 2014. I want to say. So yeah. And then what was the other? I'm sorry. What else were you asking there? I apologize.
Right.
I had VSG. Yes, I did have VSG. I really specifically chose VSG because, and this is no slight against any of the other surgeries, but I didn't want the band. I didn't want anything foreign in me at all. I realized that pretty quick. I wasn't real hot on RNY in the sense of like I felt like my knowledge at the time was like, well, that's going to prevent me from ever being able to eat X, Y, and Z. Like I'll never eat it again. Mm-hmm. And I thought to me the VSG for me was like it forces me to still keep some self-control, but it gives me the opportunity to still be able to have these things if I ever want to have them again. So that's kind of where I landed there. Yeah.
Okay. And where are you at?
I didn't even know about DS at the time. So.
Yeah. And where are you at now?
I am at 223 and about 13% body fat. I think the last time I weighed I was 222.6 and 13% body fat. That's not a water test, but that's been consistent against other. So all of my body fats and weights have been on the same tool. So at least they're consistent to each other. So I don't know how accurate they are, but they're consistent to each other. So.
Cool. And I forgot to mention at the beginning, if you want to send questions, VSG Kirk says it was kangaroo meat that got you down to 201.
It was kangaroo meat. It was so good.
Really?
Oh, I loved it. Yeah, it's great. So it's a very lean meat. It's a very lean meat, but it's very moist still, which is, if you're a fan of wild game, elk can be a little dry. You normally it's so lean, you got to mix it normally with pork fat. Deer can be a little bit like that too, but kangaroo is great, just right out of the package. Mm.
Okay. Does that mean it was like not out of the package raw?
No, I didn't eat it raw. No. We were at the store. I'll tell the story real quick. We were at the store. We were walking through the store. It was the first day I was there. Then we'd gotten back up to the Gold Coast anyway from Sydney. And we went shopping because Mel's house was, she had not shopped before she left. Obviously, she was leaving town. So went to the store, and we're walking past the thing, and like, kangaroo. And I'm like, well, that must not mean real kangaroo. That was just like, they just mean like, that's like what they call that particular cut of beef or something. And I'm like, that's not real kangaroo, is it? She's like, yeah, it is. I'm like, can we have that for dinner? She's like, yeah, I make that for you. I'm like, really? Yeah, okay, let's get that. So yeah, it was good. I liked it a lot.
I think I don't think if the meat was raw, Liz, that would be like taking paleo to the extreme.
Right. I'll tell you, I'd knock one over the head and eat them raw. They're so good. That's how good they are.
Well, he said straight out of the package. I was like, is it jerky? Is it?
No, it was just. I did have kangaroo jerky too, which was also good. But no, yeah, we cooked it like just regular steaks. Yeah, kangaroo steaks. So.
I forgot to mention about if you guys have questions, you can post those. You can click join the conversation and post them in chat. It's obviously working because Kirk just did it. Also, you can you can text me your questions at 714-625-5663. And did you know, Jim, what your wife sent me last week?
Yeah, I know. It was a dick pic of our
A dick pic of your dog? Yeah.
Now the CPS, Canine Protective Services, are going to call us for canine doggy porn.
That's right. Going to jail.
So, Phil, you're one of the people whose videos I didn't start watching until after you were already, maybe not at goal, but pretty close to goal. So I don't know a lot about your story beforehand. Had you struggled with weight your whole life? What's kind of your story around your weight?
Yeah, for 42 years I struggled with weight. So I was one of the kids that came up fat. So and TJ's not watching, so I can get away with this. But no, I was one of the fat kids, and that really impacted, and I continue to say this. It impacted my. I was always like the funny fat kid. I was always like nice to everybody. But yeah, I was bullied. I was until I learned that you could use that mask to do damage back. And but the verbal abuse, the mental abuse, never really, nobody. I wasn't dating anybody because I had a lot of friends that were women. It wasn't cool to date the fat kid, in that age group. That's all when you're all just trying to fit in. Everybody's trying to fit in, so they don't want to stick out any more than you want to stick out. So I always just kind of blended in. I didn't want to be noticed. I wanted to just be part of the group, make everybody laugh, make everybody just kind of be cool. But that also pushed me to prove to the world that I'm better. I'm better. Fine. You want to think I'm less? Oh, no problem. Yeah. So, I went straight from in high school. I had a counselor who said maybe going straight into a four-year college isn't for you. I'm like, oh yeah, watch this. So I went into a state college there in California, San Jose State University. I graduated in the top 3 people in my major. We tied for the top grade. You just couldn't get any more. We all got placed into jobs. I had a $600,000 desk coming out of that that I sold $1 million to my first year. I started my own business. I was that guy. I had a jet ski in school. I had a freaking car in school, like a nice 1970 Chevelle, all restored. I did everything to the extreme to prove that my weight was not what. In other words, my weight didn't make me less. It made me. I was more than that. So it was overcompensation. But you know what I'm saying.
I relate to that. I did that. I did that as well. Were there other people in your family who were overweight, or it was just you?
So I come from a land of giants. I'm the short one. I had 6 foot. My uncle's 6'5", and my uncle's 6'4", my dad was 6'4", my cousin was 6'5", so they're all tall. But big men, like John Wayne, burly, stocky guys, not the kind of what you would think of the male physique today, but they were more of that John Wayne, kind of a little bit of a belly and stuff. My dad got a little bit heavier as he got older. My uncle got a little heavier as he got older. My cousin definitely also did, not as much, but it looks unnatural on him. In other words, my cousin doesn't look like he was always a big guy. Mm-hmm. Sorry, my phone's blowing up over there. I apologize. So yeah, no, they were all big, but the women on my side in my family were always bigger. So it wasn't a foreign idea by any means. So it was definitely in the family. So
did they try to control your weight as you were growing up?
So my grandmother came up through the Depression. She was an older woman. They had my mom pretty late in life. There's a 16-year difference between my uncle and my mom. And so they were the people who moved everybody into a 2-bedroom house, and the women tended the garden in the backyard all day, and the men went and took any day labor they could get, cleaning streets, shoveling. My grandfather used to say, if you can shovel shit, you can get a job. And that's the mentality they took to that. They would take any day jobs. They would so everybody just piled together. So when there was food, you ate. And so, they cooked. Grandma cooked old style with fat and, all the good stuff. So there was always that stuff around. And then on my other side, my dad's side, my grandmother would always buy candies and things and keep them around when we would stay there on the weekends. My dad had us. So there was never really somebody trying to control my weight one way or the other, but they were definitely contributing to bad eating habits. And tacking my slow metabolism on top of that, it was a recipe kind of for disaster. So
right.
Is what it is.
Before Jim goes on to the next question, I'm just going to read a couple of the comments that we have. So Al, the SG11B, is watching. He says, with this crew, the show might run a bit longer than normal. I'm going to try to not make that happen because Phil has to head off somewhere as soon as over?
I can be flexible.
Okay, all right. We went long. Usually I'm like very anal about let's do an hour, but we went long last week. Mrs. Haney, I guess she might be related to you, Jim. She's not telling you this. She's posting it on the Q&A instead. She says, tell Jim I'm Facebook friends with Phil on both my Facebook pages and Instagram. Guess his poolside bromance talk wasn't as special as he thought.
I added him immediately as soon as I realized that I was not friends. There's an invite waiting as we speak. So.
And then Kirk put another comment about something we were actually talking about before we went on air, which is Mr. Haney's shoulder massage was amazing. Can't wait for my taint scrub. So.
We actually were talking about it.
We're very good with our hands. Let me just say that.
Jim, do you ever smile? You need to smile. Okay. Okay, that's all the comments we have so far.
Okay. And I can't see those comments, by the way.
Oh, wait. Oh, no, never mind.
Something, but I think you already kind of answered that, right? It was about, the next question was going to be about how you sort of made the decision, you came to your decision about your surgery type and all that, but I think you already kind of answered that, right? Don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the decision to have surgery, no, but yeah, why I chose the surgery for sure, yeah.
But what kind of took you to that point where you were like, okay, now I'm going to get weight loss surgery?
So, you know, I see this often, but I was a healthy fat. Like, I didn't have any high blood pressure. I didn't have any of the comorbidities, which worked against me trying to get surgery. But I worked with a doctor for I finally found a nurse practitioner through my work. We had a nurse practitioner in our medical office there. Amazing woman. There are two people I contribute how I got here, and that's her and then my nutritionist. But Martha and I worked together for 2 years straight, and she did labs every 3 months, and she monitored my food logs, and like she's like, if you're not lying to me, something's wrong here. Like, something is wrong here. I see you in the gym. I see you doing this stuff. You know, I don't get it. This makes no sense. And finally, she referred me over to my surgeon's office, and once I talked to him, and he did kind of like a metabolic kind of analysis of me, he's like, 800 calories a day, you'll start losing weight. Like, I can't do it, man. I can't do it. And he's like, not with a full-size stomach, you can't. And that's when we started having the conversation. And I thought I was at the point, the decision point was really this. So I will put this out to anybody who's considering it. I had this moment where I was like, I can be around for the next 10 years for my kids for sure if I don't do this surgery. I'll definitely be here for the next 10 years. I don't have any of the comorbidities now. But by 52, I will. Or I can take this risk now and maybe be here to see my grandkids. Like, you know, like it was really was like, I was really on that fence about all I need to do is survive to get them to adulthood, and then my job is check, done. But that's not really much for my life. That's just me for them. Like, but what about me? You know, and so I started, that was the first of the selfish thoughts, was like, what about me? Like, for the first time in my life.
That's not really selfish.
No, I think though what I'm trying to get at is like, that was you have to get a little selfish if you decide to go through with this. It has to be all about you, what you're eating, what you need to get that weight off once you have the surgery. Like, you got to focus on that first year, and you got to be kind of a selfish asshole. I mean, there's no other way around it. And I think that was the first one. That was the very first one of like, okay, I'm going to take this risk. Like,
you do, but I think in a lot of people's case, when you are, quote unquote, as you put it, selfish, the reality is you're doing it because you know that it's going to help you be around longer, to help your family, to help your friends, to be there for them, your children, right?
Yep.
And to your point also, it's like, to use a Philism, to your point,
yeah.
You know, like, it's not just about being healthier and living that much longer, but what would your quality of life been at 360 pounds from 42 to 52? I mean, would you start having back problems or knee problems? Would you be able to do things with your kids? Would you be in and out of the hospital? Would you be sick? Would you just be tired and irritable all the time? What is your quality of life in those last 10 years if you only live that long, right?
Yeah. And you don't see it that way until you're on the other side of it, I think.
Yeah.
You know, and then, you know, you always hear people say, you know, like, youth is wasted on the young, and health is wasted on the healthy, you know, that kind of thing. But yeah, no, I was starting to kind of piece, you know, at 42 and just not recovering from the gym. You know, at 35 you start feeling those effects, but by 40 you're like, wow, I can't recover from the gym as fast. I can't recover from drinking as fast. I go, how is this going to be worse at 360? I'm like, if I drop the weight today, I will feel like I'm 30 again, like, and I'll feel that way probably till I'm 60 because I'm used to being 360 and feeling that way all the time. So
right.
Yeah.
And I don't think you realize, I mean, how much the change is going to be until it actually happens. But I think I was very similar to that because that's why I didn't have, because my son's dad had passed away, so I was like a single mom to the nth degree. And I didn't have surgery until he was right before he was getting ready to go to college because I knew I had to focus that time on me, and that wasn't what I was, you know. Kirk is cracking me up. Sorry, I can't be serious and talk serious things when Kirk is sending messages.
I was just suffering from the same thing as you were talking.
He's like, would 360-pound Phil wear a kilt commando?
Probably be more comfortable, but.
And would you lift up the back? No.
Well, that was me. Actually, never mind. We'll get to that picture later.
Yeah, okay, and then Kirkus were like, what? Liz likes anal? I'm like, talk to Amy and Patty and Sarah. We had a whole discussion about that. But anyway.
Well, next week on the Naked Truth or 50 Shades, depending on how we go.
All right, so. You and when I first wrote these questions, I didn't know this, but on our panel, I learned a little more about this at WLSFA. So you and TJ actually had Fat Kings before either one of you had weight loss surgery.
Yeah, no, we had started off with we started off as a clothing line. We're like, it sucks to try and find. Yeah, I know it sucks to find cool T-shirts and stuff for fat guys because by the time the cool T-shirts get to big and tall, they're not cool anymore, especially at 3, 5, 6X, whatever. So we said, what if we just branded a line called Fat Kings, and it was all about fat guys and cool shirts for fat guys and cool stuff for fat guys, and just embrace being a fat guy.
Did you actually have a line of clothing?
No, so we started off. We said, let's build the brand first. So what we said is we'll start doing the show first, and then we'll build the brand. So the only shirts that ever came out of that were the Fat King shirts, the white ones with the logo. But we started doing the show more, and it just kind of became more about the silliness of not silliness, but the extremities to which people would go to get thin, and how guys were just not having that. We're guys, we're not having that. I'm not sewing something in my tongue. I'm not having a stun gun put in my stomach. It's not happening. And just screw it. And because you're a guy, you can be big. You can get away with it a little more. Not that I ever really felt comfortable in that skin, but I knew I could get away with it a little easier than a woman. If I'd been a woman, I probably would have shot myself. I probably would have been so beaten down by society on top of how shitty I felt as a man. I don't know how I would have gotten through it. So I kudos to all the ladies who went as long as I did and were big too. So, but yeah, so that's kind of how we started it, and it just slowly became more and more about just how stupid and silly these diet pills and potions and bullshit were, and that's kind of how it started. And there's stuff out there where we totally pick on weight loss surgery too. So how
long were you doing it before you had weight loss surgery, and who had weight loss surgery first?
So we were doing it a long time, then we stopped. Mm-hmm. And then I don't remember why we stopped. I think we just got done with it, tired with it. And then TJ started thinking about having weight loss surgery as he got bigger. And he said, hey, I found out this thing about the VSG. And I was actually at the point where I was looking at lap band. I was starting to get that point where I'm like, something's got to change. It's going to have to be extreme, and I don't even care what it is at this point. It's got to be something big. So I started looking at lap band, and then TJ said, you should look at this thing called VSG. I'm thinking about doing it. And had he not said that, I never would have looked into it, and I probably never would have gone through with lap band either. But he said, I think I'm going to do it. We should do it together. And I said, okay, let's do it. And I ended up getting surgery first because he was going through the military, and they had some different challenges there. He had to go to a naval hospital to get it done and all kinds of stuff. His wife's Air Force, and they had some challenges there with where he was posted. But yeah, I ended up getting it. I want to say I got it first. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. And then
but you were close, right? I mean, you guys were.
Oh, yeah, it was close. Yeah, it was within a month or two. I think it was 2 months. Yeah. So then we figured, well, we pick Fat Kings back up and to record that whole journey, So together, and just like kind of from a guy's perspective, because the one thing that was missing in the community when I went looking for it was guys.
Yeah.
And the only guys that were really doing it were all of our gay guys, like Corey, Kirk, Mike. I mean, they were the only ones brave enough to do it and put the videos out there. And I thought, well, shit. I mean, these guys are guys. I mean, it doesn't care what your sexual preference is. Like, I can relate to them as men having this experience, and they are brave enough to do it. So at least I can do is pony up and be brave with them, like, and put my 2 cents in, and TJ same thing. And Fat Kings was really about being a character of ourselves and kind of making people laugh and having a debate and a back and forth. But the videos, when we started doing individual videos, that was really about being just honest. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so speaking about the WLS community, and especially the YouTube community in particular, you're a pretty big part of all of that. how has it impacted your weight loss journey, and what has been the best parts of that, and what are the worst parts of that?
Ooh, so for me, I think I had no local support group well, there's a local support group, but it meets at really inconvenient times on the south end of town, and just like there was no way I was going to go, and I knew it. There's no freaking way, being a single dad who at the time had my kids 80% of the time, was I going to do that. I was totally a single dad at that point, but for part of it I was. And so anyway, so I had seen folks contribute so much before me, and the guys that are just gone now, like there was Big Tony, and there was, oh God, I can't remember a couple other guys, but and then Sarah's. The Sarah's were the ones in particular, like less of Sarah, like consistent, open, constantly sharing it all, and I'm like, I just aspired to be, and Tanya for that matter. Tanya had been way ahead of me too, and I didn't know about you, Jim. Sorry, but yeah, I just really was like, holy crap, I need to give what they gave, because somebody behind me, one person like finds my video and like helps them, then I'm paying back what was given to me tenfold. So that's really how I kind of started it, and I do like that part of it, and this could be kind of a longer answer than you probably wanted, but the part I don't like about it, I think, is that the celebrityism of it, and I don't mean that, and I'm very appreciative of it, but it does weird me out a little bit at the same time. Like when I go to a WSFA and there's a line of people to take a picture with me, like that's touching, but it's also weird because I'm just Phil. Like I'm just goofy Phil who's trying to make everybody laugh.
But don't you think it's weird too when people, I mean, I know I've experienced this where you share so much of yourself, and you do too, I mean, from a vulnerability perspective, and I sort of forget that there are people beyond who my friends are who are watching this. And so when people come up and know this about me, I'm a little like, oh, wow, okay.
And I think that was the other thing that I really pushed myself, and in retrospect, given some of the things that happened in the last month, like I really did push myself to be super hyper vulnerable and honest.
Yeah, for sure.
Like that 92% Phil. Like I'm not going to give you everything. I'm not going to tell you all my deep, dark secrets, but I'm going to try and give you as many of them as I can. Like, especially if they only involve me. If they don't involve somebody else, I'll tell you. But if they involve somebody else, that's in the vault. That's going to stay there. So, but yeah, I think that's been both the good and a bad thing. And ironically, it turned out to be a really good thing recently, and we can get into that maybe later. But
yeah, talk about it right now.
Well, so I started dating somebody, and I know you probably were going to ask about dating after weight loss.
I will later
on. And
I
won't get too far into that part of it. But some struggles back and forth with just my ability to be that connected emotionally as a man, which I know is weird. I get it. I'm kind of weird to begin with, and you add that on top of it. But looking introspectively week after week after week and being in touch with yourself and your emotions and what you want and being able to show that in a video publicly, I mean, there's not a lot of place to hide. It's out there, right? I can go private them all, like all 122 of them if I wanted to, I guess, but that's not going to happen. So I think when she and I first started dating, she was like, he says all the right things, but he can't possibly mean all these things. That's not very guy-like, number one. Number two, it's like, I think her analogy was if you went out with this really hot girl, and the very first night you guys really connected, and she slept with you on the first night, you'd think, wow, that's great. But the next morning you'd be like, wait, does she do that with everybody? And she's like, I kind of felt like that about you when the emotional stuff, because you just gave up all this emotional openness right away, and I kind of felt like, well, does he just do that with everybody, or is this special, or no? And I think I had protected her from the whole weight loss side of stuff. I didn't really tell her about the videos or share them with her at all. And because I was a little vulnerable, I'm like, hey, that's old me and this is new me, and I don't know, I want you to see me this way, I don't want you to see me like that, per se. But the irony of it was she went and looked them up right before I left for WSFA and started watching them, not unbeknownst to me. And she said, that was the moment that I realized that you were for real and that you were that guy. And that's what made me kind of be all in. Because I got to see all of you, not just the part you wanted me to see, which I thought was like, shit, the thing I was hiding from her was almost the thing that screwed this whole thing up. So it's kind of funny.
Well, that's interesting because I was going to ask you later because we both started dating like post WLS, and I was going to actually ask you how involved was she in this, because my boyfriend knows about it, but he has like absolutely no interest in it, which I think is kind of good because that frees me up to talk a little bit more openly about it. And it's also like the first relationship I've ever had in my life where my weight in any way, shape, or form isn't a part of it.
right, because she never saw me that way. Like she had never
Right,
seen that. So I
exactly.
didn't. I wanted her to keep just seeing new me, like not new me, but who I am now, like what I
Yeah.
am now. I mean, all that stuff came to be here. I get it, but do you need to see that whole transition and all that just painful kind of like
And the mess of it. I mean,
twisting and turning and yeah, the coming to terms with it all? Does that make me less attractive? Would that make me kind of seem like I don't know less somehow? And I didn't really kind of think I wanted to share that. I wasn't quite ready. And so by the time I finally told her, I said, "Yeah, okay, I'm sending you a link to this and blah blah blah." She's like, "I've already seen him," and I'm like, "Wow!" Like, she's like, and that's why we are still together. She's like, because I was I couldn't believe that was really you until I saw that, and the fact that you could do it so publicly and give back to other people is what made me really realize I want to be with you. So I was like, "Wow!" I mean, that was the one thing I was trying to hide from you, and here it was, the one thing that you really like. But so yeah, it's kind of funny. So.
so how long into the relationship did you tell her that you had weight loss surgery?
I told her I had lost a bunch of weight pretty quick. Don't think that helped anything early on. I don't think that needs to be shared right away. But I don't think we got to the surgery part of it till later when she started realizing I just wasn't eating as much and stuff. We'd go out and split a meal, and that would be plenty for me, So I think she started kind of suspect, and I figured, well, I just better fess up why. But yeah, so not too far in.
And you told her about your videos soon after that, or?
I waited a little longer. Yeah, and until I started telling her I was going on to WSFA,
Mm-hmm.
and then I had to explain why. And with the panel, I'm on this panel. I'm like, why are you on this panel? Like, oh well, here we go.
Oh, so it's my fault. Is that what you're
That's
saying?
pretty much your fault. Yeah, but it worked out really well, so I kind of owe you. But, so, yeah.
Did you ever send her before all this, like a before and after? I remember the moment I sent a before and after to my boyfriend. I was like, oh my god, why did I just do that?
I don't think I sent her before and after yet, although she probably saw me tag myself today. But she obviously went back and looked at the video, so she's seen them now. So yeah.
I sent it to him, and then I was terrified. I was like, holy shit, why did I do that? And his response immediately was like, oh my god.
I think there's just you want to be openly I think, and I don't know, maybe Jim, maybe you can speak to this too, but I think you get to a point, and then especially you met your wife after you kind of lost your weight and she done hers, but there is a certain honesty that you just going through this process. I think you just want to be honest with people all the time. I just want to be honest right up front. I don't want to bullshit you. I don't want to lie. It's too much trouble for me to make up a story. It's too hard to track all that shit. I don't like it anyway. I suck at it. I'm a shitty liar. I'm like, I'll keep a secret, but I cannot lie. And it's just something about being honest that just kind of comes with the territory. I mean, was that your experience, Jim, when you met?
Oh yeah, it's the same thing. She knows all my dirt. I'm the type exactly. I'm the type where I'm not. First of all, I can't. I'm a horrible liar. People that know me know when I'm lying.
Immediately.
So,
Right?
I look at it like this. If you know all the dirt up front, there's nothing anybody can dig up later on. So especially in this community that's tight knit, if there's any drama or whatever going on that happened in the past, and there could have been some issues going on, right? Because I've dated other women in the community, so for me it was very important for me to be open and honest with her about everything. So she knows everything, and I do find it easier to just do that, be upfront, be honest about stuff, and I think if you're with somebody, I think most people would appreciate that instead of finding out little things here and that come out. Like I said, I don't want to have to cover up shit and have to lie. And I'm the type where I'm like, okay, for instance, let's compare it to surgery. I don't lie about surgery because what do I tell people? It's like, okay, what did I tell this person? Did I tell them, I had my gallbladder out? Did I tell them it was an appendix I was having when I was out for, a month? Or, what was the issue? So I don't lie about everything because it's easier for me to be honest because then I don't have to remember what story I told somebody,
I think I even made the mistake at one point of I didn't come clean fast enough with somebody. Something happened. I knew I had to tell this person that this thing happened, and I just was like, shit, how do I do that? And I kind of avoided the question when it came up, and I kind of avoided the situation because I was trying to formulate how do I get the courage to tell this person this thing which I know they're not going to love, but it happened, and that came back to bite me in the ass so hard because then they heard from somebody else, so they were suspicious, and they tried to share that information, and it just the more it went, the more freaked out I got, and then it just made my life a living hell for a month. I mean, I just was in the lowest spot, and I'm like, never again. Just come clean right away. Just, hey, this may scare you. You may freak out. but I got to tell you this one thing. Like, and then normally, in half the time, shit just, they're like, oh, okay, thanks for sharing, or, well, I'm not thrilled about that, but, at least I don't have to worry about blah, 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 or whatever. So, yeah, it's funny. It's very strange.
So we have another comment from Kirk, who says, love that Phil is in touch with himself. I would pay good money to see that.
Keep it coming.
Okay, so we'll just wait till the end because Kirk gave us our last things at the end.
Ooh, okay.
So you have something to look forward to. And again, I wrote some of these questions the first time you were supposed to be on, and because of our panel, I know a little more about this now than I did, but I said I have 2 questions for you. What happened in Tampa, and please define vague booking?
What happened in Tampa, and please define vague booking? Well, let's start with the latter first,
okay,
because we're probably doing more of that on the first question. Vague booking, I think, is when there's something that, for me, something that happens that's incredibly integral to my journey. Something has happened, and it's made me be very introspective and really struggle with things and discover things about myself that I think are important to share. But they may involve one or more people that those things happen within, maybe a private moment or off the side or away from prying eyes, and they were very private moments that it's not my right to share that story because it's not completely just my story, if that makes sense. So I try and find the key lessons in those things and then try and share the lesson without openly talking about who the other person may or may not have been. People can certainly...
But we can usually figure that out.
Certainly, people can make all the guesses they want in the world. I will neither confirm nor deny. I mean, you could actually be right, and you will never know because that's one of those things where it's in the vault.
I understand and respect that.
Yeah. So Tampa, I think, more was about the beginning, from my perspective, was the beginning of the end of my marriage in a lot of ways. I had been divorced from my ex-wife. I've been divorced from for currently my wife, but soon to be ex-wife again. So I had been divorced from my ex before, and
you were married, got divorced, and remarried.
And then we remarried, right? And then and that second marriage, and I feel okay talking about this, was very much a business arrangement. We both knew exactly where we came in on this. Here are the things I can provide. Here's the things you can provide. As long as we're both meeting each other at that need, that's fine. Great, boom, that was fine. That was fine for Fat Phil, and I was prepared to just, for the sake of my kids and all that good stuff, be good with that, and just we were great roommates and great partners. Not such great husbands, wives, or lovers, but as time went on and I started to get the kind of support from the community that I'd never had before in just general, I started to have feelings about my needs and my worth, and I probably found those in very dear friends. I mean, that most of you guys probably know everybody I'm friends with, but I found a lot of those things in friends that I wasn't getting at home, and over time, I think that led to me realizing I needed more out of my life, and that's kind of where that all started. And I just think that there was these vulnerable moments there. Your first WSFA is always your dangerous one, because you get all these emotions and you don't know what to do with them, and you're around all these other people, and you're sharing your story, and they're sharing their story, and unlike this time where it just fatigued me, that time I was on the tidal wave. I was just in it. I was just in the churn of the tidal wave. And so coming out of that really is where things really started to change. And I think I got very close with a lot of people, one person in particular, to the point where I kind of felt like there was some kind of an emotional affair going on there that probably shouldn't have been, so there was guilt around that and stuff, but yeah, so.
And Kirk says, Kirk again says.
Well, it was Kirk, so just so we're clear.
Yeah, exactly. So he had to pop in. He says, Tampa was amazing. I would do it all over again. #bobsled.
Yes, well, there's the bobsled.
Yeah.
There's this night, the night we were down at the pool, and this is the best story. So we'd gone to the liquor store that day, and Mel had found this. Mel and I used to have this joke about cinnamon sugar, like that being like crack, like cinnamon sugar. Anything with cinnamon sugar in it was like crack. And so she picks up this bottle of vodka in the store. I have this picture. She's holding it up, and it says cinnamon sugar vodka. And I'm like, oh, my God, we have to buy that. So we buy this bottle. We all get together down at the pool, and we're literally drinking out of the bottle. I mean, we are the debaucherous drunks that people talk about, right? So we're drinking it right out of the bottle, and I'm sitting in the lounge chair. Kirk's sitting in front of me, so we're sitting like legs spread across the lounge chair. Kirk's in my lap. TJ's in his lap. So we called that the bobsled. And by the way, that was the moment that we got the text that TJ's grandchild was born. So there's a picture of that too somewhere if you go look for it. But he's holding up the phone, a little baby on it, and we're in the bobsled. So we call that the bobsled. It was a good time. It was a really good time.
Sounds like fun. It's what made me make videos. So.
Yeah, it was a good. Tampa was good on so many levels, just emotionally, mentally. But it started a chain reaction of real bad times. Like it started a chain reaction of tough choices, and I think if you shy away from those tough choices when they show up, you're doing yourself a disservice. It's like.
Yeah, but tough choices ultimately probably lead to better things in the future.
Yeah, no, I'm on the other side of that now, but it took a while. Like Jim and I were talking about this, so in Nashville, it took a year to come or more to get through that, and like just finally be at a place where I'm like, okay, this is the fruits of my labor, for better or for worse. This is what I chose, and oddly though, in the last couple of weeks, and I said this in Facebook the other day, I've had these little perfect moments where I just realized I'm like, this is really happening. Like I've dreamt about this moment like in the past, and here it is right here, like right now, and I just sit there and I kind of take it all in. And I'm like, wow, like I wouldn't have had this moment had I not done all of that shit. Like all of that painful shit would never have been right here. So it's really crazy. Yeah.
Okay, Jim, I'm going to skip ahead again because we have a question about your perfect moments from Patty.
Yes.
So since you brought it up, it was like a perfect moment to bring it up.
Segue.
Segue. So she had a question regarding that post that I think you made today about these perfect moments. So she wanted to know what makes a perfect moment for you and if you're open to sharing some of those experiences that have happened recently.
Think about this. How can I? So I can share them. I just think I'm trying to figure out where that line is. So last night, for instance, my daughter and I went over to my girlfriend's house with her two kids, and we barbecued and we had hamburgers and hot dogs, and like ate half my hamburger and was stuffed. You know how it goes, right? You're like, oh, this is gonna be awesome, and you get halfway through, you're done. And then we were out back, and they had built a fire pit like that day before. I'm like, I've been talking about doing this for a year. They did it in an afternoon, and so they built this fire pit on her property, and we were all just sitting around this fire pit, and we're talking and laughing and roasting marshmallows for the kids' s'mores, and I'm like, this is the kind of the moment that I've always wanted, just to be sitting around with my people on a perfect spring night. It's cold enough to where the fire's keeping us warm, and we're all kind of huddled together, and we're roasting marshmallows and laughing, and the kids are having fun, and it's just, I don't know, just these little moments. And then the other one was the other day, I think I'd taken my girlfriend out to breakfast, and it was a beautiful day, blue sky, snow was still up on the mountain, but it was a perfectly warm day down here in the city, and we're sitting on the patio at the restaurant, and I'm eating like just a tiny little breakfast, and she's there, and we're talking, and we're kind of holding hands and chatting and stuff, and there's just those moments, and you're like, wow, they're like, this is really happening, like this shit is happening, like right now, like it's not something I'm thinking about in the future, it's now. And I think you just got to keep your eyeballs open for those when they come along. I don't know. For me, those are.
I think I sort of heard that in your video last week when you were talking about kind of like the contentment of your weekend.
Yeah, just really content. Yeah.
And it's so amazing to have those now, and I feel like that's part of the gift of. I don't know if it's the gift of weight loss surgery, but it's the gift of the changes that I've made in the last 2 years.
Yeah, because it's really more about me like goal done next, goal done next, goal done next. It's never about goal done. Fruits of the labor. Like so to have those moments is starting to really be something special for me. Yeah. So yeah, and it isn't not just around her, but those are the two I thought of. So yeah.
Okay, Jim. I'm sorry for interrupting and talking all the time.
Oh, that's okay. So I was gonna. Speaking of goals, it was about your achieving your goal and all that in your weight loss journey. What would you do differently? If you had to do it differently, was there something in particular that you did that helped you? And if you did something different, what would it be, or change something about it?
Not on the weight loss side. I think I probably started fooling around with things about 6 months, 8 months that I probably could have waited on. I probably could have got the goal quicker, to be honest with you. Not that was a goal of mine, but 220 is where I kind of thought I'd land. 210 was kind of a dream weight, so. When I got to 220 and I wasn't quite happy, I just kind of continued on down to 210, although oddly I'm more happy at this 220 than I was at that 210. But I think the emotional piece was where I think that there's a mental component of this that gets ignored at an industry level. So if you're going to have weight loss surgery, yeah, they want you to come in for your 6 months and your 3 month and your 6 month and your 9 month and your 1 year and your 2 year. You know, they want to check all your vitals and get your blood every 3 months or 6 months and all that stuff. But there's no real drive or push to really get that kind of mental therapy that helps you deal with all of the stuff that you're kind of processing. You know what I mean? I think that's really lacking. I would have done more of that had I known.
That's the most important for a lot of people, I think.
Oh, man. Hands down. Hands down. And it goes 3 years. You're done with weight loss surgery in 1. You can get the goal in 1 year. I mean, depending on how much you have to lose, right? But I'll guarantee you that 3 years out, you're still dealing with the mental part of it. Hands down. I think that should be ongoing.
2 years out, I'm still dealing with the goal part of it. But anyway.
I mean, but my point is, somebody can get there in a year. Like, yeah, I've seen people get there in less than a year. I've never seen anybody get the mental piece done in a year. I've seen people of anything at 4 years, 5 years finally get it. You know.
So you talked a little bit about how you approach life, you know, before weight loss surgery in terms of being an overachiever, etc. How do you feel like since you've lost weight, it's changed your work, your relationships, your friendships?
Those are 3 very different things. My work, my friendships, and my relationships, that was the 3. Work, I think I still tend to be an overachiever. I don't take a lot of guff. I never did before. This has more to do with my the manager that I kind of came up under. I'm not sure that my confidence applies to that, but I don't. It's not. My company is an amazing company, and I think they expect you to be a little more touchy-feely, and I'm a little more like, you make way more money than me, and I'm not going to babysit you. If you can't check a box, that's on you. I'm going to throw you under the bus the next review. Like, I'm not trying to be a jerk. Check the damn box. Don't make me tell you again. I'm not your babysitter or a team. Like, I'm not here to check the box for you. And I'm using an example, but it's that kind of mental attitude of I'm too good to do something. No, you're part of the team. As a matter of fact, you make more money. You should be setting an example. You're a higher, you're a lead. You should be setting an example for all the new hires and all of the people underneath you. What a lead's supposed to do. So I don't. In that respect, I think it's made me probably a little more aggressive, a little less people pleaser. But that also may have just been the manager I kind of came up under. I will also be the guy who champions your promotion. If you're kicking ass, I am the guy who will not shut up about you. Like, I will go to every manager in the company like, have you heard about so and so? They're really doing a great job. I really like to have them on my next project. And like, I will just set the stage for you to succeed. So that's one thing. My friendships have been the toughest one, I think, because you are fat for 40-something years. I have the same friends I have a friend from kindergarten. I got a friend, and most of my friends are from middle school still. And we get together every year and we go do stuff. That dynamic has really been, for lack of a better word, fucked up because I don't fit in the same place now. I feel like I used to be kind of like the whipping boy for fun as a joke, and like I would take it and I'd joke back. I don't think it was ever serious, but now I can dish it as much as the next guy. And when we go out, I'm getting a little more attention from the ladies, even though everybody's technically married with somebody. But I'm cutting in on their attention, if you will.
Yeah, I didn't notice that at WLSFA. Just saying. Anyway.
Well, no, I'm saying my regular friend, not my weight loss friend. That's a whole other animal. We don't want to talk about that. Yeah, I had last, and I will tell this story because it was only affected me. So, we were out at the pool one day, and we had gotten we just got a cabana, and so we all pitched in. Like, it was big money because you got to buy bottle service and stuff, but we all pitched in. And some guys swung by, and they acted like they knew one of my friends, so I was chatting with them and stuff, and they hanging out, and they started pouring themselves drinks and stuff, and I didn't think anything about it. We get back to the room, and one of my friends starts giving me, she's like, well, if you were inviting all these tools over to drink all our booze and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And like coming at me. Like, I didn't know the guys either. I thought they were your friends. I said that. I thought they were your friends. Well, if you weren't so nice to them all and blah, 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 they would have gone away. And I'm like, you know what, just fuck you. Like, and I'm like, I don't have to put up with this shit. I don't have to put up with this shit. I remember I just went, what the hell am I doing? And I just picked up and I left. And I'm like, I'm out of here, dude. Here's the fucking money for the cabana. Boom, here's my cut. Here's an extra $50 for those assholes, and I'm out of here. So I kind of walked the streets by myself of Tahoe, and of course I pick up the phone. I called Mel because she was awake because of the time difference, and I was a friggin' mess, man. I was just really screwed up. I'm like, you don't treat your friends like that, and I'm like bawling in the streets of friggin' Tahoe. I'm sure like a maniac, but I mean I was off on some little side street, but yeah, I'm like, I ain't doing this shit no more to myself. I'm not coming here to be abused. I'm just not. So now I think I shy away from those kinds of things more. I'll go see 1 or 2 of those guys at a time, but not all 8 of them. Because the pecking order is just too messed up, and I'm not gonna wait for them to come around. I'm just not gonna put myself in those situations. It's not worth it to me. Not when I can go and get the kind of love and support and acceptance from people who barely even know me. Like, why would I go put up with shit from people who are supposed to be my friends? You know, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
But a lot of guys though, they don't look at it as as not being supportive. They look at it as it's very much a I call it a locker room mentality. It's like all the guys get together. I got friends that we always give each other shit. There's a lot of a lot of razzing each other and stuff. So I think for a lot of men, I mean, it's probably different for you and I, but I think for a lot of guys, it's very difficult for them to look past that mentality and hang out with guys and talk about things of substance other than just drinking and chicks and things like that.
And there's that point where like you're busting balls, but then there's a point where it gets mean. It gets like the barbs start getting a little sharper, a little sharper, a little sharper. And you're like, this is more than just busting balls. This is like, you're fucking pissed at me because you don't like the way the dynamic is now. Like,
right.
And eventually you're like, fuck you. I don't put up with that shit. So yeah, I'm out of here. Yeah, you don't have Fat Kings on your show without it being NC-17. Sorry about the language, but yeah. So that, and then as far as relationships go, I think that really has been a big change too, in the sense that there were things I was willing to maybe live without before, and I certainly try to the bitter end. Tried to give every opportunity to fix my relationship with my ex-wife. It just came down to the fact where I think the thing where that changed, where I changed in that respect, is not really what you might think. What I see now is like I can look at her and go, oh, it's not that she doesn't want to do X, Y, and Z. It's that she can't do X, Y, and Z. It's not in her nature. I can't jump off the roof of this building and fly away. I can't do it.
You said that in the video, and that really gave me some clarity about
that. That moment was like, it's not me. No, there was a point where I'm like, well, maybe if I was thinner, our marriage would be better, or maybe if I was this, our marriage. If I tried that, if I tried this, or if we went to counseling, no, it's just we fundamentally the core things that we really want out of life are just different, and because now mine are hyper, like. Now that I can do it, sure as hell I'm gonna do it. If you don't want to do that shit, that's like dragging somebody by the hair the whole way. It's like, no, I don't want to do that to you either. Go do your thing and be happy. And I think that's why when I started when I finally did start dating, it was like, no, I wasn't gonna settle for anything less than somebody who was like, yeah, let's do that, let's go do that, or like, yeah, let's dream, let's plan, let's make that happen. So I don't know.
Okay, can you make some videos on that so I can get to that point?
I can try.
So, of course, Kirk again says Phil doesn't need other friends than us, which is totally.
I have actually really come to. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love my buddy Pat, who I've known since kindergarten. We don't talk as much as we did, but he's an amazing dude. He's always been supportive. Roach has always been a Roach, and we've been together for a long time. We got a lot of history. Rainey, same thing. Bobak, same thing. But there's just some other guys in that group that, I mean, I could hang out with those 4 guys, no problem. Start adding in more, and I think the dynamics just starts to break down, and that's cool. Like I still love those guys for who they are. Good, have fun, have a great life, but I don't need to be right there with you on it. I got like plenty of other folks who really want to spend time. So yeah.
And it's amazing. I mean, that change is amazing. So we're almost at 6 o'clock, and we still have the questions from other people, so we're going to try to go through those pretty fast. Okay. Jim, go ahead with the question I had, because I think a lot of people want to know about that. Exercise.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so exercise. So you've always talked about exercise. It's a pretty big part of your journey, and your gym time and all of that. How do you get started? How did you get started in it? What was the process from going from somebody who may be a newbie out there that doesn't know anything about the gym? But anyways, how do you get started, and what is your routine now, basically? What is involved in your whole routine?
So when you're 360 pounds, you go to the class, or you go to you get on the treadmill and you walk. If it's the treadmill, you walk at maybe 2.5 miles an hour for as long as you can, on flat surface. Okay, just walk. And I used to have I have a defect when I was born. My feet were kind of out like this, so I've had to toe them in over my lifetime. But that soleus muscle on the outside edge of my calf at the bottom, it's a tiny little muscle, but it's a very dense muscle. So it would cramp up so bad, it would feel like somebody was just grabbing that part of my leg and just twisting with a pair of pliers, and it would hurt so bad. And I would just walk as much as I could, and then over time, and we're talking check your ego at the door kind of shit. Like, it's gonna take you 6 months to go from walking at 2.5 miles an hour to walking at 3.5 miles an hour, or 3 miles an hour even. It's gonna take 6 months. You go take a kickboxing class, just try and do 60% of what everybody else does. Don't try it, and don't let anybody make you feel bad about the fact you only did 60%, especially you. Those are the things you have to do if you want to do this. It's just that simple. You're going to have to put yourself, check your ego, and make yourself kind of feel, especially as a man, that's really hard. Like, you see guys in there just tearing it up and putting up the big weight and stuff like that on the bench and stuff like that. Go in there. I do recommend using weights. I think it's a great way to start burning fat faster. And you're not going to lose weight, though. But understand that you're trading. You have to use a tape measure when you use weights, but go in and start light and just do a lot of reps. I just do as many as you can. If it's 20 pounds and you can do 20 pounds over on the chest bar, or just the bar, which is a 45-pound bar. If you're doing chest press, just do as many of those as you can until it starts to burn, and then hook it up, stop, and take a break, and then do it again, do it again, do it again. Do like 3 sets of those. Whatever the case may be. But don't let the guy who's putting up 225 make you feel like shit that you're only putting up 45 because he started at 45. And he started at 45 2.5 years ago. So it takes 2.5 years to kind of really build a body and to really build fitness. That being said, fitness is only about 20% of the equation in weight loss. So it's 80% in the kitchen, baby. I mean, that's all there is to it.
I mean, but building muscle makes such a difference.
It makes a huge difference, but you have to use the tape measure because you will stop losing weight. Yeah.
2 years, 3 years.
Oh, yeah. So now I've been a little more slack lately, which is for a multitude of reasons. They're all not excuses, but they're reasons, but they're still not good reasons in my opinion. But I try to do every Monday. I do for 4 weeks. We do high rep, low weight training. We do pull-ups. That's not exactly low weight, and pull-ups is tough. So you're not going to start doing pull-ups with your body. Find a Gravitron machine to do that. Take a bunch of weight off your weight. It's just like a plate you kneel on, and you have to put this counterweight on, and then you can do it. It's tough. That took me 2 years to go from negative 100 pounds to my body weight. So again, 2 years. So, but yeah. So we do pull-ups. We do curls, bicep curls, and we do dips. Is that right? I do some combination. Oh no, we do squats. I'm sorry, squats. So it's squats, pull-ups. I have a sheet for this, and one other one. And then on Thursday we do the other one. So we do dips, we'll do shoulders, and we'll do chest. So some combination thereof. We just do 3 on one day, 3 on the other. High reps, low weights. On the 5th week, we switch it and we go to heavy, real heavy weight, real low reps, like 2. And it's just to shock the muscle. Really, I stopped trying to bulk, but that does. When you do that, it does shock the muscle. Bulking was putting weight on, so I was getting a little freaked out. Then on Tuesday, I used to do kickboxing. They canceled that class. That's been my struggle day. I've been trying to find a new one. Yoga I do on Wednesday just for pure stretch and flexibility because I'm 44, and my body does not recover fast. And then on Friday I do interval training, which if you're gonna start running. I hate running, but if you're going to start running, I think interval training is probably the best way you can do it. And I don't care if you run for 30 seconds and then you walk for 60, that's fine. Now, the normal training is you run for 20, you stop for 10, or you walk for 10 or stop for 10. You run for 20, you stop for 10. You run for 20, you stop for 10. You do that 8 times, and then you...
That's the normal interval, is you don't walk for longer than you were running?
Nope. Normally you actually run for 20 seconds and you stop... Run for 20 seconds or 30 seconds and then stop for, if you run 30 seconds, you stop for 15, I think. But if you want to do that another way, you can walk and then every 5 minutes sprint for 10 seconds. and then go back to walking until your heart rate recovers. As soon as your heart rate's back down, do it again. Then do it again. You will build heart strength, cardio strength. You'll build a lot of leg strength. You'll build stamina. It's probably hands down the best running you can do, in my opinion. But if you're 300 pounds, that might mean a jog for that 10 seconds. It might mean
or walking
a little faster. Yeah, just power walking for 30 or 10 seconds. Check your ego at the door. That's all I can say. And be consistent. 5 days a week is way more than enough. 4 is probably plenty. If you count my yoga, that's 4.
I agree with you 100% on the whole check your ego at the door. I mean, it's a guy thing, I think, for us to like get competitive and look at somebody else that's like, a lot stronger than you. To me, you just have to look at it like, this is your own thing. Don't even look at what somebody else is doing. It's your own. It's your own training, your own thing. And quite honestly, all the gyms I've gone to, most of the guys and people around there, they're not looking at what you're doing. They don't give a shit about what.
No, they don't.
They're into their own thing, or they're checking out all the chicks. Is what they're doing most of the time. So.
I know a guy who can deadlift over 450 pounds. It took him 10 years to get there. And you know what he told me? He said, every 6 weeks, add 5 pounds to the bar. That's it. 5 pounds. Which you're like, that'll take me forever. He's all, exactly. He's all, and do it consistently. And that's all, you'll be there. Eventually you'll get there. And that's really the kind of mentality you need to have. It's like, it's you against you. Can I lift 5 more pounds in 6 weeks? And then can I lift 5 more pounds after that in 6 weeks? And just, that's all you have to do. It's just 2.5 pounds. I don't care. Do that.
Okay, so Patty and other people are waiting for the good shit. They have their popcorn ready, so we're going to go get
Sorry, you're breaking up. What was that? Okay.
I'm going to skip ahead to the viewer question.
Okay, very good.
So, James, you know where I'm at. So Gretchen asked, is Phil where he thought he'd be this far out from WLS, health and weight-wise? If not, what would he do differently?
Fitness-wise, unbelievably, I can't believe I have this body at 44. I cannot. I mean, it's never enough, right? You always want more. But no, when my shirt sleeves are tight on my arms, I can feel my pec muscles on the outside of my shirts. When I button my button-up shirts now, they pull up here, not down here at my belly.
I saw you.
No, but it's a weird thing for me. Like I did it. Like holy shit, and. So in that respect, yes. But I still I was looking at a picture of me today at 360, and somebody asked me, do you still feel like that guy sometimes? I'm like, I feel like that guy a lot of the times. Like, I just still feel like, even though I'm wearing the same clothes that I wore in my lowest picture, which was to the right of that one, for those of you who saw it today, where I'm wearing the black shirt and the tie and the jeans. Those are my 501s. Those are my black suit shirt. That's my tie. I have that upstairs right now. I could go put it on. It fits fine. But I still feel bigger and more like self-conscious of my body now, which is than I did probably then. So it kind of makes me feel like I did way back in the day too. So it's really strange mental stuff. Yeah.
Interesting.
That's my answer.
The next question is actually Phil and I can probably both chime in on this one from Al Williams. He wanted to know any suggestions on support garment type things for men. His skin is getting looser, and sometimes in the areas he didn't expect.
Yes. I got 2 things, and I'll credit Kirk for one, and I'll credit another guy named Aaron for this other one. But there's a T-shirt company called, I want to say they're called Fitted Tees, and they are sport cut style tees. They're high quality, and they're extra long, and they taper. So they're sport style. So when you get that T-shirt on it, it really grips around the loose skin in the middle. And then I wear C9, and Kirk and I are like the underwear aficionados. We have gone through every kind of underwear and type of material and stuff. I like the C9 activewear material for the breathability, holds things in place where they should be held, and it also is, because it's kind of like a spandexy lycra kind of feel. You tuck that long T-shirt down in there, way down in there, and you pull them up, and then you let them sit, and they'll keep everything kind of tightened together. As a matter of fact, last day of WLSFA. Chris Waffle said, "Hey, are you wearing shapewear?" I'm like, "No, this is my normal T-shirt and my normal underwear." And he's like, "Wow, that's great, man." So I was like, "They work, and they're not like real shapewear where it really grips you hard, but it's enough to kind of keep things just smooth and looking pretty good." But take it away, Jim.
Yeah, and then I have the same thing. There's a T-shirt you can buy. There's also Under Armour sells a lot of stuff. I will say Under Armour is extremely expensive, so find a cheaper alternative. But I will say with certain shapewear, as all the women probably know out there, they can be extremely hot also. So be prepared because it's the material it's made of is going to make you sweat. So if you don't like that, you're going to find something else. Like I said, if you don't like that feel, buy something that's cotton. Just buy it a size smaller,
Yes.
and wear it tight. And just what I would suggest, like buying. Let's say you wear a XL T-shirt, buy a large, but try to buy a tall so it goes down a little bit further. If you can buy a tall size, because you can do that also. Kohl's actually, I found some. I think it's jockey underwear that are pretty comfortable. Where they're the same. They're very not quite as heavy as or hard or as tight as I would say compression wear is, because they also have compression wear. Compression wear is extremely popular now. If you go out there and look, you can find all kinds of compression garments for sports. There's compression socks, there's compression underwear, there's compression shorts, shirts, t-shirts. They're out there. It's extremely popular now because of the whole benefits of keeping the muscles warm while you're working out, things like that, right? But that's a problem, is it does keep you warm. So it's hot and it's kind of sweaty, okay? So it's a little bit uncomfortable. But there's a large amount of choices out there now. The problem is price. I mean, some of them are like you're talking $70 to $100 for one like T-shirt or something, So you just have to really check around. I did find, like I said, I found some jockey underwear at Kohl's. They were like it was a 2 set for like $24, so $12 a pop, which was pretty good. And they're pretty tight. They're not as tight as compression would be, but tight enough to sort of keep things in place.
Yeah, and I think with the sport underwear, some of it, like to your point, the ones that aren't hot, they have like the really breathable material. I like those, and they still have that kind of like grippy material. And the T-shirts, even when I buy regular T-shirts, like I just buy the tank top style ones, one size down. So it definitely, like, you feel like you're being squeezed everywhere else, but at least your arms are free, so you don't feel like you're like claustrophobic. And I do tend to wear tank style tees unless I'm wearing those fitted tees, which are deep V's for undersuit shirts and stuff. Yeah.
Right, and I remember there was a guy at our talk. I know we're not supposed to talk about bro time, but he talked. Do you remember the brand he was talking about?
Oh no, that thing was like, yeah, that was a pretty impressive piece of gear, but I don't remember the brand.
Yeah, it was not. It was pretty cool because he took it off and showed us.
Yeah.
But I don't remember the brand name.
Yeah.
So there was stripping in the bro talk that we didn't get to go to?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Wait, we're not supposed to talk about that.
Right.
Sorry.
Then I'll move on. So Shrinking Ava asked Phil to tell us who he is, what he stands for, and how he sees himself. That's an easy question.
Who he is, what he stands for. I'm a big constitutionalist. I believe that applies to everybody. However, so people think, oh, constitutional conservative, you must be must be anti this, anti that. No. I think I saw a poster one time that says, I want married gay couples protecting their pot farms with their AK-47s. I mean, that really kind of puts in, like, I feel like that document applies to everyone equally and nobody specially. So that's kind of where I come from. I'm the first guy to like want to lend a hand and give and help somebody learn to fish, but I'm not.
Chains of maintenance that you're a giver.
And I mean, I'm one of those guys who will be the first guy to line up to teach you to fish. I'll teach you to fish 2 or 3 times, but at some point, if you're not going to fish for yourself, I'm going to have to part company and say good luck. So that kind of, I think, is kind of who I am from a more global picture, but there's still that. I feel very good when I make other people feel good. And I don't know if that came from being a pleaser as a fat kid or what, but whether or not where it came from, I truly do. Like when I put a smile on somebody's face with even something small, it just makes me feel good, which, I've been challenged on that. Like, well, what about what you want? Well, I'm like, that is what I want. I want people to be happy, and, it makes me feel good. So I don't know where it came from, whether it's good or bad, but that's just kind of who I am. So, and I think fiercely loyal to a fault sometimes, and I do still. The one thing I will always do, unfortunately, is I set the bar very, very high for myself. I would never expect anybody else to live at that level. No way, no how. Matter of fact, if I saw somebody trying to make somebody else live up to those standards, I would think they were an ass. But I will do that to myself. The one problem where that comes in is, like, if you can't even come here, like, if you can't even bring yourself up to here, I do have a little bit of a problem. It's like, look, man, if I can live up here 90% of the time, 95% of the time, you should be able to hit this on a normal rate or a normal basis. And I think that goes back to the, like, hey, you're responsible for your own destiny. I'm here to help, But if you're not going to take it in your own hands, I can't help you. I'm not going to do it for you. So hope that helps.
Cool.
Okay, so the next question is from Jody Kelly, and she would like to know if Phil has a home because he always seems to be in his truck all the time.
I do, but I don't have like right now you're getting the treat, right? Because normally I don't have an official office. I bought a small patio home, 2,000 square feet. It's not small, but we had a 4,200 square foot house. And I had my own office in that house with closing doors and all that. Well, there's a great room in the basement, so it's there's a whole other room that way, kind of, and then I'm in this corner on this side. But I don't have a door that I can close, so sometimes when I'm talking and the kids are doing their thing, like my son's in there with his friends talking in his room right over there, my daughter's room's over there, and then upstairs. So there's always noise going around, people going up and down the stairs and stuff. So it's hard for me to record at home, especially if I'm trying to.
Okay, that was just her. That wasn't a serious question. Her real question is basically, do you ever feel pressure to be an example since you've been in this community for so long? And when it gets rough, who in this community do you look to for support, and who is your quote-unquote veteran?
Quote-unquote, what was the last one?
Who is your quote-unquote veteran?
Veteran, okay.
That's me. I mean,
yeah, well, technically, yeah. I mean, now Jim is in that category for sure. Now that we've kind of connected and stuff. So, but yeah, no. Yes, I feel like I need to set an example, but not to the point where. Yes and no. Yes, I think I need to set an example just by giving back and doing all the things that somebody did for me before. But if I'm at a WSFA, am I not going to cut loose and have fun and just be me and enjoy you as a person and getting to know you? No, I'm not going to sit there and be I'm not going to sit there and be something I'm not, per se.
Right.
There's a funny line there because I think people then who perceive you as some kind of example setter are like, look at this guy, he's getting hammered and singing up there on the stage, and he's letting people look up his kilt and whatever, like for a laugh I'll do pretty much anything. So
awesome.
But so it's kind of funny. But did he just take his underwear off in the lobby with that kilt? Yeah, he did. He put them in his pocket.
Okay, wait a minute. I have a question. Another question.
Well, I give me the veteran thing. Hold that thought. So the veteran thing, I would say, is the same veterans I started with. The Sarahs, Tanya. Definitely. It's kind of funny because I consider people who kind of came up with me veterans. My veterans now too, like Kirk and a lot of other folks, and then now I met Jim. Jim and I got a really good conversation down at the pool there, and so like the Mahoneys, whom I never knew before. Another set of folks who are like, oh my God, how did I not know you people? They're amazing. So like I definitely reach out, but Kirk and Tanya are my go-tos for life. Just shit it all over me, and I need help, So that's who I go to. So. Okay, now you can do your other question.
No, that's okay. The moment's passed. Anyway.
Come on, that moment's never passed for anybody. They're all waiting for you to ask that question.
Well, I'm just curious where your underwear went from the lobby.
They have pockets. That kilt had these huge pockets on the sides. Like Kirk and I were talking about. And I found shit in those pockets in the morning that I didn't even know were there when I had it on. Like there was somebody's necklace was in there. And for I think to be Lacey's had broken at some point, and Kirk had stuck it in the pocket, and it was weird. There was all kinds of fun shit in there. So yeah.
What you should do is auction that underwear off. Maybe an owl out there will place the highest bid.
There you go. You can try them out.
One of the two.
Okay, so Rhea Reloaded had a question that I actually corrected her on, and I found out I was wrong because I thought Sarah Waffle said this. Oh, and Kirk again says he loves you, Phil.
Of course. I love Kirk, too.
So Rhea asked, and I thought Sarah had said this, but I was corrected that it was actually you. Rhea said, Phil always says that he didn't do this to be normal. He did it to be extraordinary. What does he consider extraordinary?
Whew. Yeah, I said that in passing in a video, and that really took off on its own. And I did mean it, but I didn't realize I was going to get that kind of traction. My point was not to just get a life that I didn't do all this just to be like, okay, well, things are better. I can do these couple things, and I'll live longer. Yay me! No, it was like, no, I did these things to have the love I wanted, to have the adventures I wanted, to see the places I wanted, to do the things with my kids that I wanted to do. for as much as I can now because they're getting older. It's harder. My son, it's hard to pin down to do anything because he's 17 and got his own life, and I do have some regrets around that, not doing it sooner. But I did this to do all of those things. So yes is the word that comes out of my mouth a lot of times where people are like, hey, you want to do X? Yes, I do. I don't even know what that is. Let's go do it because I got to take this stuff you take experiences to the grave.
X is short for ecstasy, Phil.
What's that?
X is short for ecstasy. So.
X is short for ecstasy? Somebody almost talked me into that at one point, but I didn't do that. But yeah, no, that's what I meant by that. Just you have this opportunity. Look, I'm not getting hit by a bus tomorrow. So what I do today matters, and what I do tomorrow matters. You got to plan. I'm not going to go spend all my life savings in the bank and stuff to go do things, but hey, you want to go on an Alaska cruise before or after WSFA next year? Yes, I do. I'll start saving right now. I'm not not like, well, I really shouldn't. $2,000, I could do this, I could do that, or whatever. No, I'm going. I'll figure it out. I won't remember the money I didn't have. I'll remember the trip when I'm on my deathbed.
Right. And that some of that goes to what we talked about a little bit, was about the whole not regretting things. Because I think both of us kind of lived our lives, at least when we were morbidly obese. A lot of times in regret, like we would like if somebody offered to this is a true story. A friend of mine worked for Carnival Cruises, so he could get free cruises. About 400 pounds. I'm like, what am I going to do on a cruise? It's like one of those singles cruises. Like, I'm not going to sit there and hang out at the pool of the cruise. So of course I always said no, hell no. No. I always had some excuse. No, I'm busy. I got to do this work. I can't get off work. All that. So I always put things off, like you said. Didn't do things because of my weight. Let that sort of limit me. And then now it's like, hell yeah, I'll do whatever if somebody wants to do it. It's like your choices are so much broader now. You can say yes to things like that, and so.
And then there's people who've been thin their whole lives who don't live that way. They make excuses and put things in the way. I'm not gonna be that. I'm gonna be extraordinary. I'm gonna have an extraordinary life as I can have. That's all I can.
Exactly. Okay. Oh, it's my turn. So this question is from Lauren Dayton. Apparently, she had a moment of lucidity between her pain meds, right?
Well, we should hope. This question might be good.
She said that you guys talked about the WLSFA on your 50 Shades of Maintenance show. She said, you've mentioned before several times that you'd like to be more involved in the WLSFA conference next year. In what way are you looking to participate more?
So herein lies the problem with Phil getting involved with anything is Phil takes over. So I don't want some peripheral kind of just like, oh yeah, I'd like to do just a panel. I do want to do a panel, don't get me wrong, but I think I want to have some input as to, I think that organization could better leverage this community in ways that they don't realize. I think that there should be certain standing panels every year. I think the whole YouTube panel should be one. I think the value of using YouTube should be one of those. I think the men's panel needs to be, which I would not have said that before the men's panel, but I'll say it now. I think that there needs to be an equal balance of maintenance panels and veteran panels to newbie panels. I think that both those need to be served because you're going to have people right in between. So people who are in the process of transitioning, becoming into maintenance, they need to hear from veterans. People who are just getting ready to have surgery need to hear from people about that piece. I would like to see more structure of that. I would like to see gaps between panels so that panels can go a little longer as they need to. So maybe like 30-minute windows between to let people move around and maybe go 15 minutes over if needed. I would like to have some degree of input as to some of the things like the dinner nights and stuff like that. But I mean, I'm not so much strong about that, but I definitely feel strongly about the panels and the activities and things like that. So I think kind of Kirk's getting very involved. Tanya and I, being of one mind and one body almost, have talked about getting involved together. But again, I know that we're also in that kind of group that's kind of looked at as the party group and the after hours fun committee. And I know that there's been some tensions there. I don't think necessarily with WSFA officially, but I don't know where they stand on that from our perspective. But they asked me to do a panel next year, and they asked me to be on CHOP this year. So I mean, hey, I'm happy to do it. So it was fun.
And I hope that they have a little bit because they reached out to me last year because I'm actually a nonprofit consultant. That's what I do for a living. And they took some of my suggestions. They didn't take others of my suggestions. Some of my suggestions that I offered, I think they've heard from other people, would have been like the storytelling thing at the dinner. I was supposed to be part of that, and I backed out. Because I wasn't totally prepared, and also because I didn't think that was the right venue for it.
I have thoughts on that as well, but I think I'm reserve those till I've had a chance to give them feedback. But yeah.
But you have to understand too. There are a lot of people who really love that portion. And,
I know.
It's hard to get a balance of. Yeah. You can't please everybody, you know what I mean? And some people are going to love those type of things. Some people are going to think, oh, okay, this is a little bit too much for me. I wanted to, like Phil said, he wanted it to be the evening to be sort of a fun, and they did finish it on the fun, like the game,
right?
Things like that,
I think that okay. So since we're talking about it, I think that there was high value and high quality in that portion of the night, and I think that should be an event that you can choose to go to and participate in. Like I absolutely, and I think there would be value in that.
But like a separate thing.
But it has to be separate because.
That was what that was supposed to be.
Yeah, I think that by that time of that night, and I'm speaking as just somebody who's been through it once before, I was emotionally fatigued, and that made me get real introspective and real kind of like teary and choked up, and like I could just feel that like anxiety coming on, and I kind of had to get out of the room, and no slight to them, God, they were great, but I just whoa, I mean, I'm just trying to have dinner and enjoy my friends and some laughs and supporting this great organization, and then along comes this like very serious and rightfully so thing.
I know, Phil, you weren't at it last year. Were you guys there?
No, I wasn't there last year. San Diego? Tampa, I skipped San Diego and then this one. Yeah.
Jim, were you there last year? No.
No.
Because I didn't. So I mean, the difference between last year in San Diego and this year was tremendous. I mean, I think it was hugely up. So I mean, I really hope that they can take the involvement and suggestions from people in the community, particularly since it started sort of as a YouTuber kind of event.
And like you said, I mean, hey, here are my thoughts. Here's what I will give you a presentation. I will put together a video.
That's what I did afterwards
everything.
Last year.
You can take it or leave it. Like it's you get what you paid for, which was nothing. You paid nothing for it. It's just my opinion. So, and I won't be offended at all.
But I think they did a really,
Oh, they did an amazing job. That was probably, compared to Tampa, it was night and day. It was so much better in Tampa. Tampa was great.
And I can't even imagine what Portland's going to be like, and I encourage everybody to try to make it there. Yeah. So we talked a little bit about relationships already because you kind of segued into my question before. But so this was a question I asked you during the panel. There are very few single, non-gay, attractive, intelligent men in the weight loss surgery community where you have all these women who are coming into their own as, attractive women who are dating. And I mean, I asked you this question before I actually saw it in real life because our panel was early in the day Friday, and then I saw everybody like, Phil. How do you deal with that as a man in the community?
So I think when you're the fat kid, the guy, you tend to be flirty with women in a way that just, hey, I want to just to make them feel good, but I know they don't take it serious because I'm the fat kid. Like they don't take it as seriously as if it came from somebody else, like blah, 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 blah. When that goes away, when you're not the fat kid anymore, and you continue to kind of have that just like, hey, I'm being flirty in a fun, supportive way and just kind of, make you feel good about yourself because you do look good and I'm just complimenting you, whatever. I'm not doing it to take you to bed. I'm not doing it, to get you out of your clothes. I'm just doing it to be me. And the problem is I think I forget that gets lost in the translation a lot. Matter of fact, I literally just got done in that panel that we were on saying, you do kind of feel like a little bit objectified as a man in this community, especially as a single man. On the way out of that, after just saying that, somebody literally smacked my ass.
Oh my God!
And I turned around and I'm like, Gooch, you because I figured it was Gooch. And
or Kurt.
It was not Gooch. It was a lady I do not know, never seen before in my life. And she'll, yep, it was me. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what to do. That happened 3 times that weekend. And I've had friends.
3 times pre-kilt or post-kilt? I'm just curious.
They were pre-kilt. They were all pre-kilt. Yeah, they were all pre-kilt. It was very last night. But no, I mean, so there is that element of I forget that I still in my head am just Phil, and like I have all these friends in this community, and I'm giving back because I want to give back, and I'm supporting people because I want to support them. And then I realize about 20 minutes too late because the alcohol is filtering these things as they're coming in. That, oh no, she thinks I am trying to sleep with her. Like, oops. And like I used to say it, well, I still say it, a little kiss never hurt anybody, but there's a line that gets crossed if you're not careful, and especially when there's liquor involved and or just the amount of charged emotion. So it is a little bit weird coming from being the guy who was ignored to the kind of guy who's people are lining up to take pictures with and smacking your ass, and like I don't know how I feel about that still. I really am not.
I mean, I can't even imagine because it was really because I didn't drink that much because I was sick that weekend.
I remember. Yeah, you went to bed early. Yeah.
Yeah, I was pretty compos mentis the whole time, so I was sort of observing. And I mean, it was crazy how many women were on you.
I think that there's another piece to it too, and because I think this goes back to kind of what I was talking about with my girlfriend was. Because I'm already very emotionally in touch with all of the feelings that came along the way, and Jim and I talked about this a little bit, but I'm open with that stuff. Like I just put it out there, and again, to them, to use my girlfriend's analogy, it's like I'm putting out on the first date. Like I mean, I'm not individually, obviously, but I mean, like as a group, I'm just putting it all out there, and like, oh my God, a guy who's got feelings and is, fit.
I really do think that's a big piece of it is because people have watched your videos where you're very vulnerable and open and
I feel like they know you. Yeah.
There's an attractive man who's also vulnerable and open.
And I know him. Like I know him. I see him every week. Like when I walked in and saw Takesha, for instance, like I never met Takesha before in my life. I felt like I knew her. I've known her forever. Like I just did. It wasn't. I'm like, oh yeah, shit. This is the first time I'm meeting Takesha in real life. Same thing with Jennifer Bleacher. I'm like, oh, there's Jennifer, and there's the next person. I'm like, wait, I've never met these people before in real life, but I feel like I know them. Like I don't feel any difference. And so I imagine it's the same thing on the other side of it, where maybe people get an attraction to what they see in the videos, and they think that's all of Phil, and they have that familiarity of Phil, and so it's okay. Like, whatever. I mean, boo-hoo.
But I think that's one thing when you're women doing that, because there's so many women in the community, and there's just a very small number of men.
I mean, Jim, you probably had some of this too, and I mean.
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna say. Phil and I have talked about this, and I think part of it is, I think, is like we both, I think, our personalities developed when we were kids and as fat kids growing up, right? So we were the type. I'm sure Phil was the same way. Like most of the women that I was in contact, I was the fat friend, right? I was the guy they didn't want to date, but I was the guy that they told all their troubles to and all their dating problems to and things like that. I was on the side consoling them and really being that sort of, that emotional type of guy with them, right? So
I could meet a guy like you,
but I was also like Phil. I was the funny fat kid. I was, the life of the party, always the funny guy. Always had to be on level, 8 or 9 during the party, cracking jokes and being funny. And I'm still that way to a certain extent, And so I think when you still look at yourself that way, but when people see you like that, they're looking at, this amazing, hot piece of ass right here.
Right.
Yeah, but they're also, but the personality comes along with it, and it's a genuine personality because that's who I am. That's what shaped me was the fat kid who was, smart and funny and sensitive and all that, So it's very attractive, I think, to a lot of people when they see that.
Yeah, I agree.
And Kirk says, that's why it's best that Phil shares a room with me.
That's right.
Hashtag totally safe, hashtag not.
Hashtag glitter in my beard.
Okay, we're almost done. Jim, I think you have one more, and I have one more.
So this last one is from Melissa Reed. She said, what is Phil's 5-year plan with his weight loss surgery journey and or personal life? How many phases will he chronicle, and what does the final phase look like?
Well, the final phase looks a lot like this. I'm just dead in a coffin.
Before death.
Yeah, that's the final phase. That is my final form. Yeah, I was thinking about the whole phase thing today. I was like, shit, how many phases are there? But I think really a 5-year goal for me. 5 years puts I got to think about this in terms of my kids a little bit here, but my daughter will be halfway through high school. My son will be well into college, if not almost done with college. I would like to be having lifetime adventures with a real partner. I want to do. It's one thing to have adventures; it's another thing to have the memories to share with somebody else. And those sometimes will be friends, but ultimately I'd like that to be somebody that I could really have a romantic, and physical relationship with that is fulfilling and rewarding, and vice versa. And so I think that ultimately that's my big 5-year goal. Fitness-wise, I would like to stay at this level of fitness. I've decided not to continue to bulk because as the weight comes up, I start getting really tight about the number, which for better or for worse. And I'm like, you know what, this is good enough. I'm happy with this. I'd rather just have this level and just maintain it for as long as I can, because as I get older, the testosterone drops off, the joints don't work as well. You can only supplement so much. But I'd like to keep going as long as I can so that I have a really healthy 70s and 80s if I make it that long. I hope I would. But not crazy. I don't think I need to be deadlifting 450 like my buddy. God power to him. I mean, that's his thing. But I think this is good for fitness. And then weight-wise, I just really like to just stay on top of it. I mean, I had 42 years of the demon running my life, and I'd like to get the next 42 years of me running the demon a little bit. It's
right.
going to be a battle, but I've seen Waffle, I've seen Haney, I've seen you guys all have to continue to work harder and harder and harder, and the older we get, the slower the metabolism goes, baby. It ain't going to be easy. So
struggle is real, man.
Yep, that's where I'm at.
So you're on phase 2 now, right, or phase 3?
Phase 3, yeah.
I'm thinking for phase 4. Here's an idea. Phase 4. Maybe you start exploring your other side, possibly switching teams for a little while.
Kirk is going to get so excited.
I think there's a lot of guys that would love that. Phase 4 is still.
Well, if these girls keep being so aggressive, they might just push me over.
I mean, you never know.
I told Kirk, I said, Kirk, if I switch teams, you get first right of refusal. So,
hey.
All
right. So I have 2 more quick questions, and then we're going to get into our little games that Kirk helped us with.
Sounds good.
Okay. So one question that are you still doing the no weighing thing? I'm just curious, personally.
Every 3 weeks I weigh, and we'll have to be. There's going to be a discussion coming after the next weigh-in because, well, I'm going to save that for later. But yeah.
I was just curious. And then the other thing is, you guys did a really great job, I thought, on 50 Shades of Maintenance this week, dealing with the 2 drama points of WLSFA that kind of popped up after the fact. So I appreciate that, number 1. And number 2, do you feel like, whether it's drinking or it's anything else, that you have any cross addictions or any issues coming up with that?
No, my father was an alcoholic. My grandfather was an alcoholic. I don't know if I told this story or not. I know what alcoholism looks like, so I've always been very careful with alcohol. I enjoy the shit out of alcohol. I really like it a lot. But I don't have the need to drink it every day. I don't have the need to be drunk all the time.
Than you did?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I party more now, though. I'm more social now. So if I drink socially, so.
But anything else like shopping, exercise?
Sex?
Nope. I have a very strong libido. I'm not gonna lie. So, yeah, meeting somebody at that need is having somebody that meets me at that need is never a bad thing. But I wouldn't say it's an addiction. Like I can get through a whole week if I have to.
Okay. Just curious. All right, so we're gonna move on to our little game. So they did this to me last week for the first time, so I'm gonna do it to you. Marry, shag, kill.
Oh, okay.
Kirk, Jim Haney, or John O'Rourke?
Oh shit.
Oh, and Kirk says you have an underwear addiction.
Oh, that's true, I do. I gotta marry John O'Rourke, hands down. That guy's an awesome guy. I gotta fuck Kirk, which I'm sorry, Jim, that leaves one thing.
Oh.
Sorry, man.
That's sad for me. I guess my final phase is gonna happen a little bit early.
Jim's gonna get to the final form. And that was a Sophie's choice, man. It's just I'm so sorry. Terrible. That was the worst 3 people you could have picked. All right, well.
Or you want me to do this one?
You can do the next one.
Okay, so plead the fifth. You know what that is, right?
I'm familiar with the Constitution. Go ahead.
Plead the fifth on one of these questions, and you have to answer the other 2. And they came from Kirk. I'm just prefacing this.
I have to answer the other 2. Wait. Okay.
Plead the fifth on one, but they're.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So if you had to take a dip in the dude pond, who would it be with? That one's easy. You already said.
Go. Yeah, Kirk, obviously.
Okay. Since you can't vote constitutionalist, will you be voting for Hillary or the Donald?
I will abstain from voting for president, hands down.
Okay.
Hands down.
If you had to choose between the two, would you be willing to give up any of your firearms or all of your Star Wars memorabilia?
Ooh, who came up with that one? Holy shit. That one I'll take the fifth on. Continue.
Okay, you can because you answered the other two.
And that's the other two.
Okay, so and then here's what we end with, which are our Inside the Weight Loss Studio questions.
Right.
What's your favorite word?
Yes. Depends on who's saying it, but I'll say yes.
That's a good one. Okay, what's your least favorite word?
I'm trying to think of something around hypocrisy, but there's no one word for that. I don't know. I don't know if I have a least favorite word. I like words.
How about no?
No, it's not no. No is a good thing actually a lot of times. Yeah.
I'm gonna pass.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Creatively, spiritually, or emotionally. I think that those are three very different things. But I think I definitely I do find a lot of like I do have a lot of creative outlets like guitar and writing and things like that, and I do find those to be very emotional things. They're very like they'll leave me very tired at the end of them because they're an emotional outlets. So just those, I just think that the little sweet moments of life, like kind of like I was talking when we began, like those little moments you just don't expect, and if you're not careful, you can miss. Those things really kind of like get me going. So yeah.
What turns you off?
Hypocrisy, by far. People who are hypocrites, I just want to, cannot take it. And if you ever see me acting hypocritically, point it out, because I know everybody can be a little hypocritical from time to time, but I'm talking about people who are notoriously just hypocrites. Ugh, can't stand it.
What's your favorite curse word?
Fuck.
What sound or noise do you love?
I don't know how you describe those little noises, but I like them a lot.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
They're very intimate little noises. Let's leave it at that.
Personal noises, yes.
They're very yes.
What sound or noise do you hate?
I hate the sound of those fucking backup alarms on trucks. Beep beep, because there's a fucking yard behind my house where they sell rock, and even though those trucks are on the other side of the yard at 6 in the morning, I hear them backing up. They wake me up every day. I hate them.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Screenwriter.
What profession would you not like to do?
I would not like to work at a sewage plant.
It all comes back to poop with these professions people don't want to do.
Oh, really?
If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
You did it right.
Well, I want to thank you for being here and for putting off your trip. Next week, we're going to be back to our regular time, and we're going to get back to an hour because the last 2 weeks we've gone a little bit over, and we will have Lindsay Broussard as our guest. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you guys for having me, and I'm so sorry I made you move your day and reschedule me. I apologize.
And remember, please like, share, and subscribe, and Liz will be doing a 1,500 subscriber giveaway coming up, and it's coming up pretty soon because we're almost at 1,500 subscribers.
Hey, can I plug one thing for you guys too? It might be helpful. If you're going to OH and you want to get a discount code, there is an event, and we forgot to promote it the other night. It's 50 Shades 2016, all one word, and you will save $10 off of your price of admission. Cool. 50 Shades 2016. Yep.
Awesome. Great. Thanks. Okay, we'll see you guys next week.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks.